Hello, y'all. This is the Upriver Crawfish. I'm back again for another update. Notice it's quite a return so quickly from the previous one I gave just yesterday. But I have good reason to come and give an update. All right, so this time I'm going to go straight into the point and not beat around trying to show the map of Ukraine. But in the last week, what we saw was that Russian forces in the Kharkov direction, within Kharkov, started to retreat. They started to pull back and withdraw, and Ukrainian forces went on the attack or counteroffensive. Now, it all looked like it was a counteroffensive, and it was a counteroffensive that caused like a withdrawal of Russian forces. But in earnest, what it seems to have been happening is that the Russians, after taking a look at the situation with resources, with the low manpower in these special military operations, decided that they were going to pull out of Kharkov region. So they are pulling out of all of the Kharkov region, right? So it's not just before we thought they were going to just pull from Kupiansk, pull back from Kupiansk, from Izium, those areas that the Ukrainians went into, but it looks like they are pulling back from all of Kharkov. They even pulled back from Kosaja Lopan, from north of Kharkov, and as far as the maps is showing right now, these areas here, they have pulled back almost all the way to the Russian border, and they're maintaining the line along the Oskol River and the Seversky Donetsk River. Now, why did they do that? A lot of the pro-Russians, I'll tell you, for us pro-Russians, that was a puzzling move, and for those pro-Russians that don't trust Putin, they think he compromises too much. He treats the West with respect too much. So let's say we call them the Russian patriotic hawks. For those guys, they felt it like a betrayal, and rightly so, because that move put a lot of pro-Russian civilians now in danger from being attacked by Kiev forces. We know that what they did in Bucha, when the Russians pulled out of Bucha, they went, people who got a Russian aid, food aid, they went and murdered those people. Anybody who supported the Russian view, in fact, if you received food aid from the Russians, mind you, you had no job. It's war. You have no means to provide for your family. The Russians came, gave you food. They saw you with those packages. You got killed. That's what happened in Bucha. So now a lot of the pro-Russian civilians going to experience that. Now, it wasn't from the battle, and I will look in Telegram and show you guys some of the battle. There was no great tactical offense that was launched. The guys came on trucks, on their armored vehicles, like almost like ISIS on those pickup trucks, and I'll call those the ISIS raids. Open fire in areas where no fire were coming back, and Then when they got to areas wherein they received a pushback, they bypassed those areas, which operationally smart. But what I did now is extended their supply lines. They went into those areas. What we now know, the Russian Defense Ministry have been planning this. I mean, it's cold-blooded because those people who were given passports and were made to think that Russia was coming to save them, now they have to suffer for their lives. But this actually, so and I was suspicious when the Russian Ministry of Defense said this was according to a plan. It was a plan all along. That part of the reasons why these forces in that area were thinned out is they have been secretly pulling them out of there. And so the Ukrainians just took advantage of that to act like they were the ones doing it. The same thing they did in Bucha when the Russians was leaving. Once the Russians were leaving, that's when they started to shell the areas. And then they attacked. Now, in areas wherein the Russian rear guard elements were doing Russian elements were doing rear guard actions. When they came across those, that's where they got decimated. So again, they were bypassed and stuff like that. They got decimated. So that allowed for the Russian troops to pull out with very little casualties, not little casualties at all. So they were never surrounded. Now, why did this happen? Because, of course, the West is going to put this in. In fact, I'm reading all the Western stuff on this thing. Oh, how Ukraine advanced and kicked out the Russians out of Kharkov. I mean, it's a great Ukrainian victory. Reading all of that. Of course, the Russians tend to not care much about the propaganda and stuff like that, but they have to understand that this reality on the ground creates a situation wherein it empowers Ukraine and their suppliers. Just at the time when Ukrainian suppliers were realizing that things were going bad for Ukraine in the war, that's when life was given to Ukraine. So now why was this the case? As I mentioned on, because yesterday as I was talking about this, as I was telling you guys doing the analysis, I myself was formulating my thought on this. And I said, this to me, if it is a plan, it could be a strategic plan. Meaning, and at the time, I speculated that if they're withdrawing from Kharkov and allowing the Ukrainians to come in with their reserve combat forces, the only remaining trained combat forces that they had, allowing them to come in, they might allow them to come in and consolidate. And when they come in and consolidate, that leave now, because those forces, a lot of them at the beginning of the war, when Russia launched the feints into Kiev, a lot of them were drawn towards the north and the west, towards Kiev and other environs to go and protect Kiev. They were drawn there. That allowed Russia to be able to come in, set up, and do what it was doing on the east and the south. So now that they now let them to come in this area, it could put Kiev in jeopardy. And there could be an attack from there. Now, I don't know if that's what's going to happen. But what I do speculate, and from what I'm seeing lately, is that the Russians may be taking the gloves off. And this pullback was to pull forces from areas that could be vulnerable, bring them back across the border, and leave the areas that have sufficient manpower to defend themselves and to advance in the Donbass area, to continue doing the advance, for Russia now to take off the gloves. I don't know this for a fact, but from a couple of things tells me that, and from the strategic picture, Russia don't have a choice. As things stands in this particular conflict, it's either going to be Ukraine either going to exist as they were, or Russia's going to exist. It is no two ways about it. The West have already stated in their meeting at Ramstein, they've already stated their goals to supply Ukraine in perpetuity. And the former Ben Hodges, the former commander, the former SACEUR for NATO, he said that the U.S. did not finish Russia at the end of the Cold War. The U.S. will make sure this time that they do finish it. So Vladimir Putin don't have a choice. He doesn't have a choice to make a deal. I know that's what the Russian hawks, nationalist hawks, thinks. They think that this is one of Putin's deal again, backdoor dealings with Ukraine. I don't think so, because Ukraine is not even showing respect, as if to say it was a backdoor deal, so let me keep my mouth shut and play nice so that I can get what it is I want. They're not even showing that. And the U.S. is definitely not backing. The U.S. don't have the skin in the game, really. They're using Ukrainian pawns on the board to be able to attack Russia. So, to the nationalist hawks who are anti-Putin, and to be frank, rightly so. You guys, if those guys were not available, Russia would not have come back onto their feet as they are now. So those guys have a point. They love their country and have their point. However, Putin is very cunning and strategic. So when he's doing things, it may look like he's playing nice. But if you have noticed, all the times Putin have made sure, even when he plays nice, is to defend Russia red lines, even in Syria. And every time when the U.S. takes action, if you're looking at the pattern, the U.S. take aggressive action. At the end of the day, the Russian position gets better. So far right now, as I'm seeing, all of a sudden, in Kiev, now not just in Kiev, right, all over Ukraine, the regions of Ukraine are losing power because of Russian attacks. In Odessa, in Kharkov, and I think, this is Russia's getting to the point where they're going to get ready to take off the gloves. Now, so far as this war has gone on, Russia has played it perfectly. So there's no reason for them to just all of a sudden withdraw and give up the winning. They have played it perfectly. In fact, so assuming they play the rest of it perfectly, this war will be studied for what it was. A force went into a European, into a country, a European military, trained, sophisticated European military with NATO standards in 4 to 10 days, made that force, that European force, render them useless as far as offensive capability is concerned. And then went and began to take places using a defeat in detail to take places as they wanted to, and basically decimating that force to the tune where even in May, former Lieutenant General Stephen Twitty said he think by that time, from what he was looking at intelligence wise, Ukraine had lost up to 200,000 men. So Russia have played this war to the T. There's and perfectly. There's no reason for them to just go and then snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory, and they do not have a choice. Period. They do not have a choice. So I am thinking the gloves are coming off. This move is to make sure that the Russian forces don't lose people foolishly, and that force all the manpower that Kiev is putting over there. I am thinking they're going to pay a price for it. This win that they will have now will be temporary. It could mean that Russia will mobilize in the next, maybe it will be a partial mobilization, but maybe they will declare a full war instead of a special military operation, a full war on Ukraine. And if that be the case, that means full force, full manpower will be given to the operation, and Ukraine will be wrecked properly. That means Ukrainian dual-use facilities, power stations, infrastructures, all the railroad stations, all those places that NATO weapons come through, they're going to not have them again because they're going to be wrecked. And Kiev is going to get hit. And maybe Russia will actually go after the leadership too. As I've said before in the previous day's update, that Kiev will have to be entered again to get rid of that disease that sits in the capital. Those group of Nazis that sits in the capital needs to be gotten rid of. So I am thinking Russia will have to go back into Kiev. And this time, I would think that when they put all the forces together, so you got 200,000 now that they had allocated for this war, those guys will operate in those areas. They'll put probably about another 400,000 men in place. Maybe 300 will go towards 300,000 will go towards Kiev, and then the other group will come will buttress the areas on the east, and they will wreck Ukraine. Now that's my thought on it, because again, Russia doesn't have a choice. And I'll tell you, if Putin was actually sitting down to let Ukraine win this stuff, or get or some kind of a tide or freeze, I don't see it going down well in Russia. Because at the start of the war, Russians were a little skeptical as to the reason why they had to go through this war. But by now, they have heard what Kiev has said. Especially for those who lived through Yeltsin's time, they know they don't want to go back. Now, the new generation may not have lived through that time, but having heard what Kiev intends to do to Russia, they're not going to want it. So, my thought is that something is about to happen, and it's not going to be pretty for the Kiev regime and US and NATO. NATO is almost no longer like a proxy war anymore. It's a war. NATO using, it's always been that way. They took off the gloves. It's the Russians, again, some of the reason why the Russian nationalists have problem with Putin is Putin trying to do things gentlemanly. I think that withdrawal yesterday signifies the end of that. Things are about to change. That's my thought on this. So, let me go and get some videos from the Telegram and then show you guys some stuff. Okay. So this is a video from Ugledar of a Ukrainian counterattack, bordered by yesterday's withdrawal from Izium and Kharkov. The Ukrainians thought, oh, they could go ahead and attack in the Donetsk region in Ugledar. So they went on the offensive. And after getting hit a couple of times, they went running back. I mean, they didn't even get beaten thoroughly. Just few hits. This is to tell you that their success in Kharkov was no great Ukrainian military skill. It's the Russians themselves pull out. But take a look at the video. I'm gonna lower the video, the music, before I get a strike from YouTube. So they are coming with the tanks, infantry fighting vehicle. All of a sudden, a round lands behind them. Another one lands to the side. They're taking up positions. The tanks ahead, infantry behind. You can see infantry behind this tank and behind this infantry fighting vehicle, and then back there. Oh, something got hit. One of the tanks got hit. Tanks or infantry fighting vehicle got hit. Just one got hit. The artillery. Haha! You see, they're scrambling back, running back. That's the one that got hit, it looks. So, oh, the pickup. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Now we gotta get out of here. They scram out of Dodge. Oh no. So this tank got blown the hell up. This other tank running back and firing. Everybody says foot help the body. That's what we say back in West Africa. Foot help the body. No way. We can deal with this. Let's leave. These guys are not from Kharkov. So let's leave. That's what happened in that film. So, good clip. That's good. This is a video from mercenary fighting on the Ukrainian side. And look, sounds like American. And he got hit. He and his buddy got hit. So let's play that.
He's fucking dead, man!
Did he say Semper Fi?
Fuck, we gotta go, let's go, let's go, let's go, go, go!
He himself got hit. He turned fire, but then he would get hit again. And it would be the end of him. There he goes. So he passed. Brutal. But that's war. This is another video from a dead Ukrainian soldier who filmed his own death. So apparently, he probably was pulling guard duty or so, and these Russian special forces guys just came up, walking towards him, and he's wondering what's going on, what's happening. So he's asking them who they are, and they say, oh, we're coming to, according to the story, they say, who are you guys? And they go, we're coming to you. Why are you coming to me? They say, we're coming to replace you. And so before you look, he let his guard down. Before you look, they hit him, and he died. So that's that video.
А ну на мушку возьми. А где ваши повязки? Чё? Повязки где желтые? Желтые повязки. Что? Кто такие? А зачем? Чья замена? Какая?
Yeah, so he passed, he asked them, and then he put his guard down, and then they just hit him. Poor training. All right, these are the recently mobilized Third Corps forces that were sent to the Oskol River. So when the guys pulled out of Izium, out of Kharkov, they moved to the right banks of the Oskol River to set up defense there. These are some of the guys that would be doing that, and yeah, what they carry. There's another video where they're taking a lot of anti-aircraft as well. Something is going to be happening soon. Oregon. Is one of the videos of the Ukrainian forces going on and trying to advance by the road when they were earlier in the week when they were going towards Kharkov. And as I said, when it came across resistance, then a lot of times they will bypass. But this is just one where they came across resistance and they were hold up on the road.
Мэтик, ебашь, ебашь! Ебашь!
Ебать, где дым был, только чуть ниже. Посадки.
Ебашь, там-то дым посадки! Так красили ебашь! Ебашь, ебашь! Давай, давай, родики, ебашь! Андрюха! 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 Жека, Жека, я же только плюс, блядь, там де дими були, посадку хай ебаша, в посадку!
Look like the commander of this element.
Там де дими кидали, в посадку чудіза, туди хай єбаша, туди!
So it's element just sitting here and the firing, and you see they're not really getting fire back. If they had gotten fire back, they would be sitting exposed like that. To be a recon by fire. Improving attacks. Let me try to find a video with the guys doing the ISIS raid. This is Memory TV, right? Just an anecdotal evidence of the fact that the rest of the world is tired with Western hegemony. The racist and imperialist world order has been set, and people are in support of the Russians. Generally, except for the Western people and the minions, most of the world support the Russian operation. So this is just a screen grab from Memory TV, and it's this guy, Memory TV, that's Arab world. This guy is saying, harden your heart, O Putin, increase your attacks. Well, he may be getting that. All right. Okay. Thank you. So this is the video of the guys doing the ISIS style raids. Doing the ISIS style raids. You can hear an American voice there asking for ammo stuff. So this attack on Kharkov, there was nothing special about it. It just, the Russians were pulling forces out because they had less men there. So there was no great tactical advantage. No great tactical skill that the Ukrainians showed. The operational skill in the fact that when they got resistance, then other forces peel off to cut off instead of enforcing through the resistance, bypassing and moving on to that was great tactical. That was great operational combat move, maneuvering combat. The problem is they were not really getting much resistance. In the areas they got resistance from, they couldn't breach those till the Russians orderly withdrew their men. Then they took those places over. But take a look at some of the race. I mean, these guys going in the field at full height. Oh, if there was someone there to respond to them, they would have gotten wasted. A lot of them. Just watch. It's the American that's firing right now. He's the same one, he's using a 50 cal. The other vehicles going there. Better be careful before they fire on their own. Look. Full height.
Скажи, по нам огонь ведеться, прямо в стекло в'їбали. Алло! Алло! Алло!
50 cal ammo. It's an American voice. There's another video with this guy where someone else was filming him where he ran out of 50 cal ammo, so he would then got the grenade launcher and fired. All right. So as we can see, I mean, as I stated before, I think, you know, this war is going to get a whole lot more interesting. So we'll see. Again, I'm not in the Russian general staff or part of Putin's inner circle, but it makes no sense for Russia to wind things down or to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory. I think they are getting to the place where they are ready to take the gloves off. Okay? Hey, you guys, if you enjoy this content, as I said, I always say I will try to get better, but you guys can help me by supporting. Then I'll put more time on this. So please subscribe, click likes, and share. We in the anti-Western hegemony community. We need the support, all the support that we can get. YouTube is shadow banning me nowadays. I can try to upload this video. It takes about sometimes an hour for these videos to get uploaded to YouTube. Just all of a sudden that started happening. I don't think it's by mistake. This is a brand new computer too, so I don't think it's by mistake. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.